doing the same lashes.
I was trying to get your attention. I couldn't. I was trying. Hey everyone, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Jodi Harrison, the CEO of Prolong Lash, and as usual I'm here with my lash wife.
Hello.
Alicia, our guru head of marketing, and today we've got a really hot topic, one we love talking about, the pros and cons
of working solo in your lash business.
So let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the first step. The first thing that everyone talks about is the freedom.
Yeah. So it's lovely to be your own boss, is it not?
It's great to be your own boss, have that autonomy, have that flexibility, have that opportunity to come and go as you please, or to actually service your clients how you please, and you know that the standard's always the same. But there are ups and downs to that. Let's go into the pros first.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously freedom is a huge pro of running your own lash salon. You can choose your hours, you can choose your clients. You don't have anyone else, bothering you in your space. Someone doesn't come and take your tweezers off your lash trolley and use them, and then when you go to use them, they're gone.
Or leave your toilet seat up, or run out of toilet paper and not change the roll, or have the roll facing the wrong way.
Yeah, that is a pet hate of mine. Are you an under or an over gal?
I'm an over.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, of course. Anyway.
If you are under, stop listening.
So don't work in my salon.
Yeah, I think unders are making a bad choice, but that's fine.
That's all right. We're open to all suggestions here. But yeah, so that's one thing is, your space is the same as you left it when you walk out at night or when you walk in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously there are cons to this as well. Working by yourself can be very lonely. It is a lonely life as a lash artist, and that's what we find talking to people when we go to conferences and events like the lash bashes of the world, where they bring people together. And that's why these often exist, is because it is a lonely life working as a lash artist by yourself, solo in your salon space or your home salon, and there's no one else to back you up and be there for you and talk rubbish. They don't get to have a lash life like we do.
No, exactly. And they don't have a Christmas party either.
No Christmas party.
That was the first thing Alicia did say. I will say, when we brought up this conversation, what we were going to talk about today, Alicia, there's no Christmas party when you work on your own.
Well, it is sad. I mean, you work really hard at Christmas time as a lash artist to get everyone looking amazing so that they can go sit on their grandma's couch. I don't know why everyone is so obsessed with getting their lashes done before Christmas, but they are. And it's really sad when you've just worked your bottom off for 2-3 weeks, just absolutely smashing out clients 12 hours a day, and then it gets to just before Christmas and you just sit down on the couch by yourself.
Oh yeah, you have a few too many beers by yourself, and then that's a problem. And there's a word for that too. So yes, working on your own.
For that?
I think it's a drunk. It's a sad, sad Christmas time. No, yeah, so there's benefits, and you've got to work out yourself what works for you. For me personally, I can't stand being on my own. I can't stand being in a place for too long on my own. I need to have social interaction. I need to have not just the client interaction either. I need to have, when I worked in retail, I had a one-person shop first. My first shop was in Corio in Geelong. Shout out to all the crew down there. And I was working in that on my own, and that was 6 days a week, 6.5, 7 days a week sometimes. Then I went into another bigger shop and I had one more staff member. And I think that was half my motivation to become successful in what I thought was successful in retail, and have the Melbourne Central store, the Chadstone store, where you had like the 15, 20 staff. I did like the staff around, and I worked better under those circumstances. But I know you worked on your own for a while.
I am the type of person that gets re-energized from alone time, which unfortunately, having 3 children and 15,000 animals in my house and a husband, I don't ever get that anymore. But I actually love being by myself. I'm a person that will go out for dinner alone and have a great time with nobody talking to me. I don't even need my phone. Like, I just get re-energized from that. Silence, quiet, calm. So in saying that, you don't actually stop talking to people when you're a solo lash artist, because you have a client coming in every hour.
And that was enough.
You've always got someone there. Yeah, you've always got someone to talk to. It meant that I didn't have anyone sort of to talk to on a professional level or go, these annoying things about business annoy me and I want to have a little, blab about that. You can't do that with your clients. That's not professional. So you don't have that element, but you're not lonely as such, I guess, because you just have that person always there to talk to.
I wonder if, as a lash artist, and I have to tell you that I've never been a lash artist, as most of you know, never had that situation one-on-one, but I know when I've had someone in the change room changing into, so originally when I was with Just Jeans, you sell the jeans, you try and sell a shirt, you try and sell the add-on sales and everything else. If I was a really quiet day, that poor person would become, I would have that person there for ages just trying on stuff and bringing in ideas. And it wasn't so much just that I wanted them to buy something that made them feel good and look good, and also for the revenue for the store, but it was company. Like, it was company for me. It was someone that I could talk to while they were in
thrive off spending time with people. So really, it's probably down to a personality thing.
Yeah, a personality thing. But there's no right or wrong.
No,
there's absolutely no right or wrong. It's just, we're just talking about
pros and cons.
Pros and cons. So pros is that you do get that flexibility. You work for yourself. You know that your structure. You know that everything's going to be the same way. Cons are you may be a little bit lonely. It may be tougher to throw off a professional. As you said, I used to love having people in the team that you could turn around and say, oh my God, that customer was so annoying. And we did say it, and often. So I would miss that banter.
Absolutely, yeah. Sometimes you just need that professional level friend that you can just say, today's been a shit day business-wise. I need to bitch about it. And, you don't have that. Well, I think my husband just copped it from me then.
And Matthew, if you're listening.
Sorry, babe.
So yeah, but obviously having a Chadstone store with 15 staff in it and having a Carrera store with 1 staff in it, there's the staff cost, the overheads. The bigger the store, the more power it takes. So for bringing it back to what we're talking about today, which is the one salon, staff overheads, if you haven't got them, is a real bonus not to have them. No,
true.
Cover? No.
Yeah, what happens if you have your staff member coming in that day and all of their clients just cancel back to back, one after the other? And especially if, depending on what kind of a negotiated deal you have with them, are they on a contract, are they full-time, are they part-time, do they just work the hours that they're given? But I had staff when we worked in our big salon who would be rostered from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and that was their day and they were paid for that no matter what happened. And sometimes what happened was that every single one of those clients cancelled and I just paid someone the whole day's wages and didn't make any money.
And that's frustrating. There's nothing you can do about it because that's just
that is a pro of working. That's a pro of working for yourself and solo by yourself.
Because if your client cancels, you've really only got your own wage to cover.
Yeah. And
you can cover that by filling it in with cleaning your salon or doing something else in that time.
Yeah.
That's productive.
But what happens if you get sick?
Con.
Con.
This is a con.
There's no one to cover you. There's no one to help. There's no one to pick up the pieces. And I think if you got sick for one day, that's something that you can handle. You can just sort of squeeze them in elsewhere. But what happens if you get badly sick? What if you get sick for a week? What if you, for example, hypothetically tear the tendon in your thumb muscle and have to have 6 weeks in a cast?
I was going to say, that sounds very specific. I'm assuming that happened.
That happened to me just after a Spring Racing Carnival, which is a massive lash time in Melbourne, Australia. It's a racing season, like I don't know, what are the derbies called? You're a horse person.
Yeah, no, the English Derby and all those derbies, and overseas you'd have the show jumping, the Kentucky. And...
Yeah, so it's the Melbourne version of that, and the Melbourne Spring Racing Carnival, and that is flat out, it's busier than Christmas because there's a week-long racing season and everyone wants to look their absolute best. I hurt my hand just straight after that from doing probably a week straight of 14-hour days, and then I had to have 6 weeks off. And I was working in a salon at that point in time, so I was very lucky that there was other people to take on that work and that they could be bringing in income and being able to pay the bills, and I could still get paid a wage during that time. Whereas when I worked in my solo salon, if that had happened, basically I'd be beeped.
Yeah, there you go. And it's not just the cost either of staff. If you do have staff and number one, you're not happy with them, there's a process of not having them there anymore, or getting rid of them nicely. And number two is that you're constantly micromanaging staff members if they're not that fantastic. If they're great staff, you're very lucky and you've got a great team. That's a lot to do with how you build the culture and how you build your team. But you can get stuck with staff members that you're not happy with, and that can make your day long. It can make your day tiresome. So be really careful when you're hiring originally that person suits the culture of what you're set up yourself, your seller.
Yeah, because they're also forming the reputation of your brand as well. So if your clients aren't happy with that person, if they're not representing your brand in the right way that you want it to be represented, it can actually be very damaging to your brand.
So smart recruiting, ladies and gentlemen, smart recruiting is a really good thing. You've got to get on with them personally. Mm-hmm. You've actually got to like them personally. I'm a big believer in that. I don't think anyone can work all day, every day in an environment where you don't have some similarities. I mean, you don't have to be best friends and go for a tequila shot after work or anything like that, but be handy if you could.
It's a very specific analogy.
It's very American. Every time I go to America to visit the girls over there, they always tend to take me to bars and do tequila shots.
I love tequila. It's good, isn't it? It's actually my drink of choice. There you go. Like, not a shot though. Like a very nice, good quality tequila, just a little bit in a glass and just on its own. I'm very happy with that.
So now if you don't have staff, you can't have nights like that. You're hungover, you can't go to work.
True. Yeah.
Pros and cons of staffing, I think we've covered.
Yes.
Definitely. That it's about expenses, but it's also about team building and being the right person for your team, the right fit for your team.
And if you choose the right fit, you can get some real security out of having people working with you.
So I suppose when you're in charge of your own clients too, you get to know them really well. So your relationship with your client, you know what they like, you know what they come to expect. It's hard to train that with someone else that comes into your salon as well, isn't it? It's hard to get that same process and that same result every time from someone.
Yeah. So when we ran a large salon with 15 beds in it, we had a very strict training protocol when we onboarded someone. So it got quite corporate the way we did it, but it was the best way to make it work, that we knew that everyone was following the same scripts and doing the same things to be on brand, and that if a client came in, it didn't matter who they went with, they got the same service. So that was from everything from answering phones to applying the lashes to how we told people to look after them and do their aftercare at the end. We had them take their bottle of Prolong Lash cleanser up to their desk. We told them the 3-step aftercare and how to wash and care for the lashes, but everyone said it the exact same way. So if you are going to have other people, you need to make sure that they're doing it the way that you want it done, and that your client's going to receive the same service from every single person that enters. So in a way, that's a con, that you have to put so much management systems in place to make sure that everybody's just doing it the way that you want it done. You're working by yourself. You do your business the way you want to do it every time.
Yeah, and that's true. And also with all that work you put into operations, like, it becomes more operational then. When you're on your own, you're your own operations, you wear all the hats, you do everything, but then you're passing off bits and pieces of your business to people and really entrusting them in that part of your business, which can be pretty scary. I know for me, I'm a little bit of a micromanager, and I know you are too. So it becomes hard to delegate and to hand that off and trust someone with your brand.
Yeah.
Like, trusting you with what you've built.
But then if you have the right person and you're able to do that, you give yourself so much freedom to focus on things that you either like or that you need to focus on by delegating to other people and allowing other people to take control of certain aspects of your business, that you don't have to worry about them all the time.
And I think it helps with the work-life balance thing too. When you've got someone else with you, for me personally, having other people there, if you do need to take off for a couple of hours, or you need to have a couple of hours off because you're tired, rather than always feel responsible to be there. The one thing I was going to ask you, Alicia, actually was, do clients have, like, because when you get a feedback form, or when you go to a new doctor, or when you go to a specialist, or when you go to a salon, it'll have a drop-down box that says, who would you like to see? And I just always tick anyone, because I think that anyone in there, and let's say, and you go to spa, when I booked the other day at Indora Spa to have a massage that I got for my birthday. Thank you, everyone. I dropped down and it had all the people's names. I always just press anyone, but I'm assuming that personality plays a really big part in the pros and cons of having staff or not having staff. Because I would assume you were talking about before that when you're on your own, your company is your client. So I'm assuming the client has to have some interest with you or some connection to you.
Absolutely. I think that a pro of working on your own is that you attract clients that are really aligned with your own personality and your
company.
The way that you want to hang out in life and the things that you think, and people sort of align with that when they've chosen you and you're the only option in the business. I found that when I worked in my own salon by myself, if someone came in and you just didn't click, you're not going to mesh with every person. So sometimes you just wouldn't click. Either that person might just not come back, or they might come back a couple of times and you can just feel that you don't really vibe, and then they don't come back, and I just didn't pursue them and check in and be like, oh, did you need something? Like, I was like, you can go.
And I'm my party friend.
Yes, exactly. But when you work in a larger salon where someone's just booking in and the client might just end up with anybody, you don't have that control of the client so much that's coming in. But if you don't love a client that you have and you work with other people, you can usually sort of fling them over there.
Palm them off, that wasn't the right word.
Yeah, palm is that a thing?
That's the right word, palm them off. It just sounds a little bit harsh, doesn't it? But
yeah.
Palm them off.
But you can get assistance from your fellow co-workers.
That's a better way of putting it.
So, oh, sorry, I'm booked out that time, but, Emily's there available. She's love to take you. So you do have that sort of help with curating your lash base if you're working with other people. But you can definitely really curate it when you're working by yourself, because people just want to come to you if you're not personality aligned.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing that I find interesting being in the lash industry for the last 4 or 5 years is you never stop learning. So you're constantly at conferences, doing educational courses, keeping up with new techniques. From your side, it's new techniques, new lashes, the new lights that are coming out. From my side, it's learning about the AI, the operations, the freight, logistics, the trademarking. When you're on your own, that sort of stuff, you just don't get time for.
Yeah, that's true. You are
just
limited in your capacity because you can only do so much. And if you're on the tools doing lashes all day, you don't have time to practice, try something new. I used to sort of fit in trying different techniques and things like that in between clients. If you had a cancellation, someone was running late, something like that. I remember learning Russian volume. Russian volume didn't exist when I started doing lashes. It was classic. But I was booked out all day, and I would have to go home after a 10-hour shift and then practice doing Russian volume on a sponge because I wanted to be a part of this exciting new thing. And it was not, you weren't giving yourself the time and space to learn and develop and try new things, let alone all the admin and everything that you have to do as a solo lash artist. So it is good if you have other people within your business to support you with that.
I suppose there's something to be said that maybe even a day a week taking your risk if you're at that stage of your business. I mean, if you've been open for a year and it's continually ticking over and you're doing well, but you're not quite busy enough for that second person yet, maybe bringing on someone just one day a week to keep your education up, if you want to attend a conference instead of shutting your business down, having that backup person there might be a good way of looking at it, rather than bringing on someone full time.
Yeah,
bring on someone that can just help you stay relevant, help you stay up to date with what's going on. Yeah. There's people out there, particularly mums returning to work, that are looking for that job in between 9 till 3, a 6-hour shift. That's three sets of lashes you could have someone doing while you go and sit at a conference for a day. But even the conferences now, there's so many online. You can sit in the back room, so still be around to have a presence.
And don't get behind in your other business needs as well. You don't want to get to tax time and realise that you haven't done any of the bookkeeping that you needed to do because you were just so bogged down in the actual lash work, things like that, I think take solo artists by surprise how much administration goes into running a business, let alone the actual servicing itself.
Yeah, and also I suppose we talk about a lot about the extra revenue area, like having a retail area or having an area that gives you that extra income when you are on your own. Sometimes that tends to dwindle away, or you don't keep up with the stock, or you don't keep up with the most common things that are fashionable, like you might have your Prolong Lash all mixed up with your label on it sitting there, which you should have. So yeah, there's lots of things as a solo artist that it does really affect you. You can fall behind. But so for me personally, I am someone that would like someone with me, someone to help, someone to make sure that revenue was coming out of that corner, someone that making sure that I was getting the education I needed. But it's what you can afford. Yeah, it's what you can afford at the time, isn't it?
Well, set your prices right, so you're charging the right amount of money so that you can build these things into your business, build the business that you want.
Yeah, was special words by Alicia there. It was like it should be a sticker or something on that t-shirt.
Build the business you want.
Build the business you want. I think that's about it. It's really what we've talked about. But I suppose one thing we touched on, but we probably should mention a little bit more, is that personal life-work balance. That the burnout. Hey, and when you're on your own, that's very hard.
Yeah,
that's
because you can't even really take a holiday that's more than a refill.
Yeah. So 4 weeks with Prolong.
Yeah. But in saying that, you can't do all of your clients the day before you leave. So even if you took 4 weeks, there's going to be clients that then wouldn't have seen you for 5 weeks or 6 weeks because you can't fit that many people into a day or two before you leave. So some people have gotten their lashes refilled a week before you left, 10 days before you left. So you're kind of looking at a 2-week max holiday, and that's just locked in. That's it. You can only take 2 weeks when you work by yourself, because otherwise your clients are going to find someone else to go to and get their lashes refilled, and maybe they don't come back. If you're good enough, maybe they will, but maybe they don't.
It's a tough one because you do definitely need time off. Like you need that time off, and you find it. You were saying yourself, you've worked 10 days straight. Alicia sat in on a course a few days ago, and the course went over the weekend, which is a great course. And once again, this is what we're talking about. Don't forget to educate yourself and keep up with relevant trends. And Alicia was lucky enough to be in a course for AI digital marketing. You said it was great.
It was very cool.
Cool. So we're 10
days straight. The robots are coming.
See? It's 10 days straight. So Alicia's feeling a little bit today, a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm up to day 12 in a row of working.
Day 12 in a row. So that's too much. That's too much. But Alicia's got a plan for the next few days to sort that out. But she might have if you had your own salon store, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably your 3 busiest days, or definitely Friday, Saturday. Yeah. So then you'd be 14 days straight. So yeah, you've got to manage it.
We see so many people go to conferences. Lash conferences are often on a Sunday, Monday, because those are days off usually for lash artists. And then we know that they've been at Lash Con, for example, and that's epic, right? So you're talking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, parties every night, talks every day, constant. And we know people flying back on Monday night that are starting work on Tuesday morning because they can't get a break from their business, because they are that solo artist and they have painted themselves into a corner where they don't have any backup. They can't take any time off. And imagine what they're like the next day that they get off.
We know ourselves after that 4 days, we fly home and it's quite a long flight, and we come back to work as soon as we get back, hit the ground. It's exhausting. So just make sure that if you are flying solo, that you have a good support team.
Yeah.
So so I suppose as we talked about with personality before, my personality is someone that definitely needs interaction. I need interaction with other people. I'm not just the person I'm looking after or working with. I need interaction of people around me constantly. But I know from your experience, you loved working on your own.
I did. And some of the cons are big and they feel big. I mean, I went back to work when my firstborn child, my daughter, was 10 days old. And I don't think that that's an uncommon story in the lash industry. I've heard this time and time again. And looking back she's now 6, I think that is a mental thing to do, but I didn't feel like I had a choice at the time. So when the cons are there, they do feel like big deals, but there are definite benefits to being a solo artist, and I loved running my own salon. There's nothing better than being your own boss, making your own hours, and you can be like so proud of your achievement. When I would actually give myself a pay check, so I don't think that this is the way that everyone does it, but I would collate all the incomings at the end of the week, and things would go to different things, to the taxes, to the expenses, and set them aside, and I would actually pay myself, and I would pay myself the same amount of money every week. So I gave myself a salary just so that I knew, and I could be so proud when that salary came into my bank account, because I worked for every single bit of that. Compared to getting paid for the work that you do for someone else, like, it doesn't feel quite the same.
Prolong Lash. No.
I'm not saying that I don't love when Prolong Lash pays me, but it gives you a real sense of achievement, just being like, every single cent that came into this bank account was hard earned by me. No one else did this. This was 100% me. And like, that is such an achievement for me. Maybe some people don't care about that or where the money comes from. It's just nice to have money in your bank account. And I'm not saying that it isn't nice to have money in the bank account, but I felt really proud, and that was enough for me to give me like determination to keep on going. And I just truly loved it. I truly loved forming the connections with people that I really enjoyed. Some of my lash clients are still some of my best friends that I spend time with and hang out with today, and I haven't run my business for years, like 4 years.
It's almost like the playgroup at school. When your kids first start going to school, you remain friends with those mums from playgroups for such a long time. Mm-hmm. But now you're married to me. Now you're a lash wife. Well,
I don't need other friends now. I've got Jodi. She's got enough personalities for for all my friends.
So look, anyway, we hope that this has helped you a bit today. We hope that we've talked about some pros and cons, but putting our personal touch to it. You're not on your own. We've all had it. We've all done it. We're all feeling it, and it's a massive step to go from being on your own in a salon to a bigger salon or hiring some staff. So if it makes you happy being on your own in a salon, just make sure you look after yourself and that you try and get that extra revenue out of your salon wherever you can, and just be organised.
Absolutely. Yeah, be smart. Hire help where you can that doesn't necessarily have to be within the salon as well. So, hire a bookkeeper, your accountant, a cleaner. Those things, I did hire those people in my business as contractors or as, just for a short term to get things done, because you can't do everything. Well, you can, of course you can, but you shouldn't, because there are other people there to help you, and you will burn yourself out if you do. So there are ways of still being a solo lash artist and still getting help, even if it means buying help from different services, not necessarily having to get a staff member.
And even just in your busy times.
Yeah.
Even if you know that there's 3 or 4 times in the year where you're really busy, maybe organise your chop out for those times. Don't leave yourself floundering, and be organised. I'm definitely one for, I know you're the same, be organised, plan in advance, plan things in advance, make sure that you know when your busy times are, that your clients are rebooking, and get rid of the ones that keep cancelling.
Yeah. Time wasters. See you later.
Bye. All right, thanks for joining us today. We really hope you got something out of it. We've loved talking about it, and we could probably talk about this one forever. But if you've got any questions that you feel like you want to throw out to Alicia or myself,
comment below.
And we'll get back to you. But we're always here for you. So if you like this, YouTube video, give us a thumbs up or press the bell, ring the bell, whatever it is.
Jodi wants you to ring our bell.
Ring our bell. You
And
can ring my bell. I can't sing, so I'm not going to sing.
No, she's not singing. That's her not singing. And if you want to jump onto our socials, we've got our Instagram page, our Facebook, TikTok. Jodi definitely sings on there.
Yes, definitely.
And if you want to buy Prolong, head to www.prolonglash.com.au for Australia. And otherwise, you can find us at the Aussie Lashwives podcast as well, which you can find anywhere that you get your podcasts, where we interview
fabulous
interesting people. Yeah, absolutely.
fabulous people, and we give you more tips on all sorts of things in the industry, but not just lash related. We talk to entrepreneurs and gurus and SEO experts and EDM experts, so please listen in. We'd love to hear from you and comment on that as well.
Thanks for joining us today, guys.
See ya.